I bet you didn't know a single moment could change a life forever. But sometimes, that moment isn't a grand event. It's a quiet, almost invisible turning point, tucked away in the corners of an animal shelter, where hope flickers like a candle in the wind. Let me take you back to the very first time I saw him. He was just another face among dozens, a golden retriever with soulful eyes that seemed to carry the weight of 1,000 untold stories. His fur was matted, his tail barely wagged, and he pressed himself against the cold metal bars as if trying to disappear. The shelter was filled with the sounds of barking, the echo of footsteps, and the occasional laughter of volunteers, but he sat quietly, almost as if he didn't want to be noticed. I remember pausing in front of his kennel, drawn in by something I couldn't quite explain. Maybe it was the way he looked up, just for a second, with a glimmer of hope that someone might finally see him. Or maybe it was the way he curled up in the corner, trying to make himself as small as possible, as if he believed that would protect him from more disappointment. The shelter staff told me he'd been there for weeks, overlooked time and time again as families came and went, searching for the perfect pet. He watched as other dogs were chosen, tails wagging, leashes clipped on, and doors opening to new beginnings. But for him, each day was a repeat of the last. Waiting, hoping, and slowly losing faith. His food bowl was always empty, not because he was fed less, but because he ate quickly, perhaps out of habit or fear that the food might not come again. Sometimes, he'd lick his paws nervously, a small sign of the anxiety that had become his constant companion. Yet, despite everything, there was a gentleness about him, a quiet resilience that shone through in the way he would press his nose against the kennel door whenever someone walked by, just in case today was the day his luck would change. I stood there for what felt like an eternity, watching him, feeling the weight of his loneliness and the silent plea in his eyes. It was in that moment that I realized how easy it is to overlook the ones who need us most, simply because they don't know how to ask for help. But I also realized that sometimes, all it takes is one person to see past the sadness, to recognize the spark of hope that still burns, however faintly. This is what he looked like the day we met. A dog who had almost given up, but not quite. And what he looks like today will absolutely melt your heart. His transformation is nothing short of miraculous, a testament to the power of love, patience, and second chances. Stick around for the dramatic transformation. And trust me, you won't want to miss the surprise twist at the end. This is a story about hope, about resilience, and about the incredible things that can happen when you open your heart to someone who needs it most. When this sweet soul first arrived at the shelter, he was a bundle of nerves, completely overwhelmed by the unfamiliar sights, sounds, and smells. Every little noise seemed to startle him, whether it was the clanging of a kennel door, the echo of footsteps in the hallway, or the distant barking of other dogs. He would freeze in place, his body tense and his eyes wide with fear, unsure of what might happen next. Even the gentle approach of a caring staff member or a kind volunteer offering a treat was enough to make him retreat to the farthest corner of his kennel, seeking comfort in the shadows. People walking by, even those who meant no harm, made him want to disappear. He longed for safety, but didn't know where to find it. Days passed, and he watched the world from behind the bars, too afraid to trust, too anxious to hope. The shelter staff noticed his struggles and worried about his future. Would he ever feel safe enough to come out of his shell? Would he ever learn that not all people are scary? This was the beginning of his journey, a story of fear, uncertainty, and the faintest glimmer of hope. He had been overlooked again and again. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, until one day, everything changed. When we finally met, he was still scared, but something in his eyes said he was ready to trust again. The first days weren't easy. He barely moved. Every small noise made him jump. Healing takes time. Then one morning, we saw it. A tiny tail wag, small but powerful. When we first met him, he was a trembling, anxious soul, curled up in the corner of his shelter kennel, eyes wide with uncertainty and fear. Every sound made him flinch. Every movement seemed to make him shrink further into himself. But with each passing day, as gentle hands offered treats and soft voices spoke words of encouragement, something remarkable began to happen. The scared shelter dog we met was slowly fading away, replaced by a new spirit. A spirit of hope and trust. His tail, once tucked tightly beneath him, began to wag hesitantly, then with growing confidence. He learned that a hand reaching out meant a gentle scratch behind the ears, not something to be afraid of. He discovered the joy of toys, the comfort of a warm bed, and the simple pleasure of lying in a sunbeam. With patience, love, and consistency, he blossomed into a joyful, loving companion. Now, he greets each day with bright eyes and a wagging tail, eager for walks, playtime, and cuddles. The transformation is nothing short of extraordinary, a testament to the power of kindness and the resilience of the canine spirit. All he ever needed was a chance, and someone to believe in him. This is the power of rescue. Behind every scared shelter pet is a heart waiting to shine. If you've ever thought about adopting, let this be your sign. One rescue can change a life forever. Like, subscribe, and comment. Would you adopt a shelter pet?